How's it going, everybody? Continue on in Mark from 12 over to 13. Let's do it in the New Living. Yet they shamelessly cheat widows out of their property and then pretend to be pious by making long prayers in public. Because of this, they will be more severely punished. Well, we just read judgment. So I'm not sure how the severe punishment works. Um, because judgment is that fire coming down and devouring all goats and and killing them. So do some take longer to die? Are some burnt longer before they die? I just it's a mystery to me. The widow's offering. Jesus sat down near the collection box in the temple and watched as the crowds dropped in their money. Many rich people put in large amounts. Then a poor widow came and dropped in 2 small coins. Jesus called his disciples to him and said, I tell you the truth, this poor widow has given more than all the others who are making contributions, for they gave a tiny part of their surplus. But she, poor as she is, has given everything she had to live on. All right, 13, Jesus, oh boy. So this is sort of the equivalent of Matthew 24. I think Matthew 24 is the best, but let's see what we get out of that. And I know Matthew 24 pretty well because of all my end time studies. And let's see if something pops up that maybe helps me even better understand these end times. As Jesus, future end times, not the times we're in now, that's pretty obvious. As Jesus was leaving the temple that day, one of the disciples said, Teacher, look at these magnificent buildings. Look at the impressive stones on the walls, in the walls. Jesus replied, Yes, look at these great buildings, but they will be completely demolished. Not one stone will be left on top of another. And we know that Israel gets destroyed. I believe that's 70 AD. Israel is destroyed 70 AD. Who destroyed Israel 70 AD? Roman military blockade due to the first Jewish revolt. Okay. Later, Jesus sat on the Mount of Olives. So this is later. Now the story changes. He sat on the Mount of Olives. This is known as the Olivet Discourse. The Olivet Discourse, Luke, Mark, Matthew. It'll be Luke 21. It'll be Matthew 24 and 25 and Mark 13. Well, we're in Mark 13, but all three are about the same thing. The abomination of desolation, the Antichrist, and all that good fun stuff. I'd like to read it in the King James. As he went out of the temple, oh, we already read that part. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives for the about to begin the Olivet Discourse, over against the temple, Peter and James and John and Andrew asked him privately, Tell us, when shall these things be? And he's not going to answer that question, I don't think. And this is key. This is completely different. What shall be the sign of when all things be fulfilled? Cheat into tomorrow's study briefly. Yeah, it's worded a little different there. So what they're really asking, according to the others, What will be the sign of your coming?
According to web.mit.edu, tell us, they said, when will this happen, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? Jesus
See,
answered, watch out that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming, I am the Christ, and will deceive many.
well, notice that's what we looked at in tomorrow's when we cheated up. That's what he said. Make sure no man deceives you. But they didn't ask what will be the sign of your coming in Mark. That's why I tell you, Matthew's is the best. But there might be a caveat in Mark that's not in Matthew. So I'm looking forward to it. Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming in the end of the world? And that's the King James. So that's pretty solid. All right, we're going to get into Revelation 21. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. So now the 1,000-year millennial reigns over, Satan being loosed for judgment, and all the goats being raised for judgment, and that all the dead goats are thrown into the lake of fire, and the fallen angels are being tormented in the lake of fire. And now the sheep now go to the new heaven and the new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride, adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. Now, this is very key. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. Why are they crying? Aren't they in heaven or about to get to the final heaven? Haven't they been with the Lord for 1,000 years in the millennial reign? But go back to the judgment. After the 1,000 years, they witnessed judgment, and they saw all their family and friends who were goats weeping and gnashing their teeth. You will see all your friends and family, and they will see you. And it'll be done supernaturally. We went over that yesterday. Very specific Bible verse. When you shall see Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and all the prophets in the kingdom. What kingdom? This kingdom? No, it's not here. Where's any goats here? No, it was during the 1,000-year millennial reign when it was finished, and they're in Jerusalem. That's where it'll be celebrated. A new earthly Jerusalem. It'll be rebuilt. Jesus will be there with all the sheep for 1,000 years. And then there's judgment. They will surround Jerusalem, and then a fire will come down and kill. Well, and that's judgment. It's known as the second death because they're dead again. But they're going to be weeping and gnashing their teeth. So are you. Because you're seeing all your goat friends and family crying, knowing they were never loved. And you knowing you were for no reason of your own. No free will. God chose you and called you and pulled you out of the world. So God has to wipe away all your tears, which is basically the last thing you'll ever remember about your past on the earth. And there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall be any more pain. Key. 4. The former things are passed away. Everything's done. That's it. Everything is over and done with. You have no more memory of any time you had sex, scored a touchdown, laughed at a joke, had a family, had a wife. That's why in Mark's study the other day, they're like, Who will she be with after marrying all 7 brothers? Or her husband and then 6 of his brothers, because they all died. So the next one married her. Jesus said, it's not going to be like that. You go to these funerals and they'll sit there and lie, because it's all they do in churches is lie. They sit there and go, well, he's with his mother now, or he's with his wife now, or she's with her husband now. Nah. And when you die, you're not with the Lord, you're asleep. We've been over that 1,000 times. And he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. All things new. Former things are passed away. All things are new. It's a new you without any earthly, fleshly memories at all. Rebuilt to your former glory, because he knew you from before the foundation of the world, before the earth was even formed. He knew you. Now he knows you again. The sinful nature gone. There was no sinful nature before when he knew you, and there's no sinful nature now. It's just been a journey. It's just been a process, which is what the Mystery Babylonians use all the time, journey and process, because that's what they call their world. Theirs is a complete flip-flop upside down of the truth. And he said unto me, it is done. The story is over. Rebuilt to former glory from A to Z. It's done. And then the Lord goes on to say, I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the foundation of water of life freely. I love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.